Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. And I have an epic guest for you today. Now, she's not from London, she's not from the US, right? She's from Newcastle. You're going to hear about her accent, and a lot of you from America here listening to the show can be like, where is that from? It's Newcastle, it's up north of England, all right? And now she is awesome. She is a business strategist, but with a twist, right? She has done so many different things, gone around ups and downs to get to the business that she is at today. And she's going to be explaining how this happened, how she got to where she is, and also there is something that happened to her in her lifetime, right? That when she told me, I was absolutely shocked and I was like, holy crap, I need to get to know you a little bit more. And we're going to be talking about that. She doesn't even know what that is yet, right? Until I ask her. But please welcome to the stage, Gina Trick. Oh my goodness, Gina. I'm so excited to have you here.
I am so excited. This has been a long time coming.
It has, for sure. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what it is that you do and how you help your clients, please share with our listeners today a little bit about what your journey looked like to get to where you are today.
God, so this has taken 20 years, which makes me feel like a bit of a dinosaur. I'm sort of feeling very old at the minute. So I started my very first business 20 years ago this year. So I never felt like I fitted in the corporate world. Like everything I did, even though I got to be a general manager of a hotel, I just always felt like it was never what I was meant to be doing. Like everybody else was like, oh, you're doing amazing in life. And I was just like, I really hate this. I don't enjoy it. And I just didn't like being like stuck in the confines of having a job. I wanted to have some freedom. So at the age of 25, I decided to go and set up a business. Nobody I knew had their own business. All my family and friends told me that I was absolutely mad and like, what on earth are you doing? But I decided to go and do it. So I set up a little online shop which sold wedding jewellery and wedding stationery that I'm handmade. And back then, this is what makes us laugh, is you had to get somebody, it wasn't like you couldn't build like your own Shopify or anything like that. You had to pay
Right.
somebody and it cost £5,000 to
My
build
goodness.
this
Wait,
website that was like an
you were
e-commerce website.
you were 25 years old, right? Doing all of this, trying to figure it all out. How did you manage to raise £5,000 to set this up?
In those days, bank loans were very easy to get. It was like,
Okay.
have you got a house? Yes. Do you have a mortgage? Yes. Okay, here's the money. That was honestly, it was that easy. Like you were in and out of a bank in 10 minutes. Like, and they just, it's like, by the way, I want to set up a business. Yeah, no problem. There you go. It was like that simple. So that got set up, and then I had like sort of a couple of years of running that, doing really well, building it, going to wedding fairs, and then me and my ex split up, and it was just after the housing crash in the UK. So the house prices had gone through the floor, and we tried to sell our house, and it sold for £40,000 less than what we owed on it.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's a lovely thing called joint and severed liability in this country when you're not married, which means that if one of you just decide to walk away and say, this isn't my problem, it leaves the other person completely liable for everything. So my
Oh,
lovely ex decided to walk away and just leave it all to me. So I literally, at that point, after the housing crash, you couldn't get loans, you couldn't do anything, and I didn't have £40,000. So my only option was to go bankrupt. I had zero options. So in one day, they took my house, they took my car, and they took my business. I had to walk into a receiver's office and hand everything over. So that was 2009. And I literally
wow.
had to say goodbye to everything. So at that point, they gave me £2,000 out of everything and said, that's yours to start your new life. So I had to find somewhere to live, I had to find a job,
Wow.
and I had to find a car. For £2,000, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And I sat in a flat by myself, surrounded by boxes, and literally cried and cried and cried. But then after a couple of months of doing that, I was like, well, this isn't getting you anywhere, Gina. Like, let's see what we can do. And by this point, technology had moved on. So I had a laptop that was ancient because the receivers didn't even want this laptop because it was so old. So they literally said to us, like, right, here's, you can have this laptop. And I learned to set up a website by myself and use PayPal buttons to take the payments. And that is how I got started again. I was just like, I'm not going to let this stop us. So I decided that I needed to keep going. And so I literally sat and figured out how to reset this website up and built the website from scratch by myself, just using like tutorials online, getting the PayPal buttons on, and literally started up from scratch. And then from there went on to open a little boutique. So it was a wedding accessories boutique. So it sold my jewellery and other like wedding accessories and things. And then from there, so I was sat in a flat by myself, surrounded by boxes, just feeling totally sorry for myself. And then I was just like, this isn't going to get you anywhere. And I am not the type of person that just gives in. And so I decided, right, I could do something about this. So I got my ancient laptop out and I was like, how can I now do this? And so I went and I just learned how to build my own website, like a WordPress website. And I taught
Oh my
myself how to build that. And then I used PayPal buttons to cobble together my own little website shop. Luckily, I still had like the photographs and stuff from my previous stuff. So I just used all of those. And I was like, right, I'm doing this again. Booked myself into some wedding fairs and off I went. And
wow.
just decided, like, I'm not going to let what happens be like my future. It's like I'm better than that. So kind of fast forward a couple of years from that, and I had a little wedding boutique. So it was like an old converted chapel, and we sold all wedding accessories. So it was like my jewellery, and then I had other people's like handmade items and things in there. And like just absolutely loved that. And then from there, I went on and like it's such a weird thing to happen, but I set up a wedding events company because I got the opportunity to run a wedding venue. So the wedding venue is owned by the council, and it's
Okay.
this beautiful old hall. And the people that were running it didn't want to continue doing it, and so I got the contract to take over this wedding venue, which was not doing very well, let's just say. It didn't have very many bookings at all, and it was really about to close. So within a year, I managed to turn it around to be hitting seven figures.
Oh
So
wow.
so I literally went like 2009 losing absolutely everything to 2016 turning over seven figures on
Wow.
this wild journey that kind of went on. But I was a product of my own success, unfortunately. So with the wedding venue, I decided I wanted a very personal service. So I
Mhm.
did like the show rounds and like met people, and then people were like, "Oh my God, we love you. We want you to like do our wedding. We want you to like, organize it because we know that you
Yeah.
care." And then that was great when the first few weddings came in, but when you're up to a couple of hundred weddings and they're all wanting you there, you're like, hang on a second. 90-hour
Right.
weeks became a norm. Like 4 hours sleep between weddings was lucky. And one morning I woke up and I couldn't speak and I thought I'd had a stroke. And it turned out that I had burnout. And we're talking proper burnout. We're not talking burnout where people go, oh my God, I'm burnt out. I'm so tired. We're talking about your body is so unbelievably knackered that it doesn't have enough energy to run everything. So it chooses something to shut down that you don't need. Because obviously it's thinking, well, I need my heart to pump. You need your lungs for air. What do you not need? And it decided that speech was something that I didn't need. So it just decided to shut
Wow.
that off. It only lasted 20 minutes, but it scared the bloody hell out of us. And
Yeah.
so I thought, this isn't really good, but I would love to say that that moment was what changed things, but it took 6 months before I went, hang on a second, I'm actually killing myself
Okay.
here.
Oh wow.
So I decided to sell the wedding venue, and
Okay.
it was literally, we sold it just before the pandemic. Obviously, we didn't know the pandemic was coming. So again, I was like, unbelievably like this is how did I do this? So in 2019, I decided that I had lots of business knowledge. I'd obviously ran businesses for years. I wanted to help other people to have
Right.
businesses that they actually enjoyed and that they didn't burn out. Because all I saw was people running around like lunatics and working, working, working. I was like, there's got to be another way. This can't be life. So I decided that
Right.
that was like, right, I want to help other people to grow their businesses but without burning out, without like all of this hustle culture and to actually enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Because like everybody was like, oh my God, when I had the wedding venue, like, oh, you've got the Range Rover, you've got the designer bags, you're going like Hawaii, do you know, like, oh, you've got this magical life. I was just working 24/7 and I hated it. I wasn't happy. And I was like, it looked
Mhm.
amazing, but I was like, no, this isn't how it's meant to be. So decided, right,
Wow.
let's start this. So that's what I've been doing for like, what, God, 6 years now.
Oh my goodness.
Like I
Okay,
say,
so
been a journey.
yeah, that is an epic journey. And the fact that one of the questions I was going to ask you was like you've got created a business that created seven figures for your business, your life and all of that. And then all of a sudden you gave it up, right? And I was going to ask you, why would you give up something like that? Because I know the audience would want to know, but burnout, that's the big deal, right? When you're all you're
Yeah.
doing is working, you're hating it and you burn out and your body shuts down, like that's a big wake up call, even though it took you 6 months later, right, to
Yeah.
decide to sell.
But the thing is, though, we all get told, like, like I posted about this yesterday. It's like 5 figure months, 6 month figure months,
Mm,
7 figure months, like always like go for more and more. And I'm like, not everybody wants that, but we're like conditioned to think if we're not doing that, there's something wrong with us. And it's
mhm.
like, if you want that, absolutely amazing, go for it. But if you don't feel like that's the holy grail in business. It's not all and everything. And like, I just got different people want different things. And it's that thing of knowing what you want and not just doing it. Like I did that and went like I'm hitting all these milestones, I'm doing all these things and like, buying the dream car, doing, and all this stuff. But like I was like going, I had the high for like 2 minutes and then I was just like, oh God, I've got to go back in there tomorrow and I've got to do this. And it was like, you know what I mean? Like everything just felt really heavy. And
Yeah,
I just think like it's not worth it. Like seven figures feeling like that, I would prefer 5 figures feeling like blooming the best person ever. And so it
right.
was a hard, for me, it wasn't about giving up the money. It was actually letting people down. I felt like by selling the venue, I was letting those people down. That was my biggest
Wow.
thing.
Okay, so it sounds like there was a lot of guilt there. So how did you overcome that and decide to walk away with that guilt being there?
So, when you're just going, I'm like, because I was burnt out, I was like, these people deserve better. I'm not showing up as I
Oh,
wanted to. So I kind of
yeah.
went that way of like, even though I'm not doing what I promised I was going to do, I'm making sure that their weddings are still going ahead in the venue. There's still everything that I've promised them still happening. But it wouldn't be me that was there. But I thought, well, I could end up just like ending up being where I'm not there at all, anyways, because I'm so exhausted. And so I had to like battle with that in my head of kind of like, right, well, these people aren't going to get me one way or the other. And it's better to sort of walk away. And to be honest, the guilt lasted for about 2 days after I sold it, and then the relief hit. I was so relieved. Like after the sale went
Wow.
through and I'd handed everything over, like just it was like 100 tons had just been lifted. Like the difference I felt straight away, like not just like mentally, but in my body as well. Like you could just actually, I could feel like 3 years of pressure just kind of going out of my body.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so you're now a business strategist, and I can understand that. And I'm sure the audience understand why you've become a business strategist after doing everything that you've done, right?
Yeah.
And so once you kind of, sold the wedding venue, did you know straight away that you wanted to become a business strategist? Like, what was the next step for you? What did that look like?
So no, so it was I called myself a coach until about 18 months ago. So I was a business coach. And I kind of like I just knew I wanted to help people. That was my thing of like, look, I've got all this knowledge. People used to go like all the time, like, oh, can I pick your brains? Can I pick your brains? And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm giving all this stuff away for free. So I was like, I know I can help people. I know that I've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. And I was like, and I'm really passionate about making sure that people never go through what I went through. And I was like, surely this can be something. So I went
Yeah.
and decided to work with a business coach to help me develop my that sort of side of things because obviously I had the knowledge and things. But then what happened is like over the few years, it's like I was like, I'm not really a coach because what I was finding was coaches ask you lots of questions and wait for you to find the answer in yourself. Whereas I'm
Right.
kind of more, I still help you find the answer, but I'm a lot more kind of like I'll give you ideas and I'll help with you. And I'm not just going to sit you there and like the uncomfortable silence, where you sit there going, right, waiting for you to answer. And the person's there going, I don't know, I don't know. I'm a lot more kind of interactive and a lot more supportive. And like, because I know so many different things, I was like, I know all these different strategies. So therefore,
Yeah.
if I go through those, instead of going to the person like, right, what do you want to do? And if I'm going, right, these are all the options, which ones feel right? I was like, that
Right.
feels better for me. So the actual strategy side of things, and very much, I always did things step by step. So I would help people put a step by step plan. And I was just like, a strategist and mentor sits so much better with us than a coach. But it
Ah,
took, it's been like iterations. Like at one point, I called myself a client attraction sort of specialist because I thought I
okay.
had to be in a box. Do you know you have to be? Because everybody talks about niching and you've got to be like a small niche. And I was just like, but I do so much more than client attraction. So yeah, so it's taken like it has taken time. There's been a lot of changes, but I think that's with every business owner.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've done so many different things, right, in career, and you change, and that's the thing. Feel like loads of people are like, no, you got to stick to one thing. But as human beings, and I've had this conversation with several people, like we have several different interests, right? We have several different skill sets, where you can help people. So why actually put yourself in a box, right? Like, there's no need for it if you can help them with that. So I totally hear what you're saying. And I'm a podcast strategist myself, and that has been changed several times as well. So I hear where you're coming from. And that's the thing, it doesn't matter that it changes, it means that we're developing, it means that we're growing, right? And things like this is meant to change, but and that's where you see growth, right? So I love that. I love that you've done the same thing as well. So tell us a little bit about your current business now and how you actually help people.
So, like I say, so with strategy, lots of people will come to me, and the idea is that they come to me when they are sick of following all this cookie cutter stuff. Like, I'm very much, God, it's where people sort of say, like, this is like, if you follow this strategy, it's going to make you however much. And you go, right, every strategy works, but not every strategy works for every person. Like,
Right.
we've got to understand this. Like, if you go and do an online course and there's 500 people in it, half of them will finish it, half of them won't. And then out the half of them that finishes it, half of them it'll work for and half it won't because it doesn't align. So people come to me when they've tried lots of things and they're like, they're getting some results and things, but it still feels clunky. It still feels like slogging away. They're like, what on earth? Like, this can't be this difficult. So they come to me then, and I help them to find the strategy that's right for them. So we look at their strengths, their values, and like what they actually enjoy doing, and then we literally match the strategy to them. So it's a lot of things. So people go, oh, well, you're a strategist, so it's all very logical. But I like use, you've got to feel it. It's got to be like, if you don't feel comfortable in that strategy, you're not going to do it. So I could teach you 100 strategies and you go, oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. But if I'm telling you, right, well, it involves getting on the phone to ring people, and you go, oh, I don't like ringing people, you're not going to do it. So it's very much
Right.
finding that alignment. So I work with people like one to one to do that, but I've also got a group program called Break the Blueprint where it's like hybrid. So there's some one to one, there's some group stuff, some in person stuff, online courses. And then I'm developing some new AI stuff at the minute because I'm a bit of an AI nerd as well. So I
Yes.
use AI quite a lot with my clients anyways. And so I was like, oh my God, I want to get this out there because it can help more people. So I'm literally developing some little AI sort of things at the minute. So one is a nice little freebie that I've got for people if they want it. And
Ooh.
it's literally, so it's a passion of mine that's grown. So over the last 18 months, I've learned a lot about AI. So I use that with my clients as well. And we're very much, it's all like, it saves time, but it also helps with clarity. Like people think AI and they think like, oh, write me a podcast like script or,
Yeah.
write me like a social media post or things like that. Whereas I'm like, right, we're going to do that, but we're also going to use it for thinking, for clarity, for, like, is it in alignment with me? Is it like going to help me do X, Y, Z? Like there's so many other things in business
Right.
development we can use it for to help us so that we're not sitting there sort of like confused, struggling, like thinking like, oh my God. So I have developed this little AI alignment assistant. She's called Ali, and you can basically go to her and ask her, like, I've had this idea, is it good for me? And she'll ask you questions and you go back and forward. So it's like having like me in your pocket. And she might say, yeah,
Right.
that's a really good idea for you. Or she might come back and say, well, actually, I don't think that's in alignment with you, but you could try this, this, or this. So she'll give you ideas. So I'm really, really
I
proud
like
of
that.
her as well.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I want to take a couple of steps back, right? Because you mentioned earlier on that if one of the strategies is to get on calls to do sales and you don't want to do that, right, then you're not going to do it. Now, I know there's when you're starting in business, a lot of things that people just don't want to do. They don't like. one of the things is sales, but you got to get good at it. So, how do you differentiate with your clients on something they don't like doing, but something they need to get good at in order to have a successful business?
It's a case of like asking the difficult questions like, why does this just feel uncomfortable because it's new? Or is there a value of yours that's out of alignment with? Like, is there something like more behind it? Like, I've done some trauma and like informed training as well. So, like, is there a trauma behind it? Is there anything like that? So, we dig deep into those because sometimes it's new and it's uncomfortable. Sometimes there's a
Hmm.
real reason why somebody's totally against it. But with selling, what I always say is, if we can create an offer that you absolutely bloody love, like something that you're so excited about,
Yeah,
you're not selling, you're so excited because you want to tell people about it. You
right,
know what this offer is, what it's going to do for people, and so it makes you excited to share it because selling is just sharing an invitation.
right.
It's just,
Okay.
we reframe it. All you're doing is saying, oh my God, do you know what? I've got this thing. It's absolutely bloody amazing. I think it'll really help you. This is what it does for you. Would you like some more information? Like I don't do like any hard sells or things. I always sort of make the invitation and say to people, if this is right for you, you'll come to
Yeah.
me because I know what I do and I know how bloody good it is and I know what results I get and I know that my clients love it and I'm not for everybody and I know that. So I'm very much a
Mhm.
case of with my clients, like if you've got offers that we can make that really light you up, that you're so excited to talk to people about, it never feels like selling.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Oh, I
if
love that.
if you don't want to, do like the DM outreach, I will say it works. But if you don't want to do it, there are other ways of doing things. Like,
Mm,
some people like, with sales calls, they're like, oh, I'm a bit funny with sales calls. And I'm like, right,
yeah.
okay, so we'll unpick it. But it's literally just unpicking what it is. Right, how can we get around that? What else can we do? How can we make it feel better?
Okay.
So there's
Interesting.
always ways and means around things. Like, you don't always have to do what everybody tells you.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. But it's interesting to hear that you've got several other strategies that you can replace the other one, and you don't have to do that specific one that everyone else talks about, and that does.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's awesome. Now I want to go back to the whole AI thing that you got going on with Ali, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously you use this for your own business. Is Ali something that you offer to your clients as well? Are they able to pick your brain in the AI format? Like, how does that work?
So Ali is brand new. She literally got released this week. So only
Ooh,
only a few people have got her at the moment, but I'm going to give your clients that listen to this the opportunity to get hold of her for free as well. So she's
yeah.
brand new. So yes, she is something, but she's literally like I have had people trying her out and things, and obviously testing her, and I've tested her to our limits, bless her. So yes, she is like, but I'm not gonna. It's not something that's on my website and people can get this as by invite only. I'm keeping
Mhm.
her as literally just an invite only for people to use. But yes, it is. So she's not me. I've not built her as me, but
Okay.
she has a lot of my knowledge. But I am building. I don't know what she's going to be called. I'm calling her GinaBot at the minute. But I am building a proper AI assistant that is going to be me, like a virtual version of me.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to do this. So
Okay.
because you've got to feed so much information, you've got to train them so much. It's a project I'm working on, but I'm hoping that she'll be ready September, October time.
Okay.
And that she will literally be for my one-to-one clients and for in my group program, build the break the blueprint. So I'll be putting her into there. So that the idea is that when I'm not available, so like say, 11 o'clock at night, you're thinking, oh my God, I need to ask this question. Instead of having to wait
Okay.
until I'm awake the next day, you can go in and you'll be able to ask her.
Ah,
So she'll
interesting.
be she'll be sat there as an extra layer of help and support for my clients.
Oh, I love that. See, I created a K-bot a couple of years ago, right? Now,
Mhm.
one of the things that I came across, and I don't know if you've come across it, is while we are building and like developing and getting all the information to her and all this kind of stuff and feeding all the information, she ended up having a really sassy attitude. She had an attitude, right? And I'm like, where did this attitude come from, right? And we tested her out, and she's like, wait, I'm thinking. You don't hear from her for a while, and you're like, what is going on here? So I don't know if that's a normal thing that people go through, but we had to make sure that she ended up being polite because I was like, I can't have her being rude to clients. right? Like it was just a whole thing that we didn't even realize could even happened. So just to
It
kind of
depends
let you
what
know,
you fed her. So
that's it.
that'll that's come from something you fed her. This sassiness. Where's that come from? But mine, so people laugh. I've trained my AI to speak Geordie. So she's got a Geordie
No.
accent. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
So not to the fact at first she was a little bit too like gimmicky, like as in what people basically it was like what people down south think a Geordie sounds like, and I was like, no, 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 we're gonna have real Geordie here. So there's some nice little Geordie. So like yesterday, I got her to write an email for us, and it's called the title was Shy Bairns Get Nowt, which is a Geordie shit saying. So Shy Bairns Get Nowt. It means if you don't ask, you don't get. So I'd
Right.
said that I wanted to write this email and it was about like, asking for help, blah, blah, blah. And she came up with calling it Shy Ben's Getting Out. I didn't tell her to use that. So she's learning
Wow.
Geordie from me and phrases that I would use. So like it's
Oh,
amazing what you can
love
do, but
that.
you can obviously you can train them to be, so you can tell them what you want your audience to feel when they're using them. So obviously like with Ali, so she's an AI alignment assistant. So she's there to be friendly, helpful, supportive. And that's what, so we've trained her to say that's what she's meant to be. That's how people like, so you just tell them, what do you want the people that are using them to feel? And like,
Mm,
they get it. And the thing is, like, obviously they're not human, so they don't have feelings, but they understand if you tell them those emotions, they understand how to then hit that brief.
yeah. Oh, I love that. That's freaking awesome. Oh my goodness. Now, Gina, I know at this point probably people are thinking, oh my goodness, okay, I need to learn more about Gina, what she does, especially all this AI stuff. So where can they go to connect with you?
So best place is Instagram. So I'm
Mhm.
at Gina Trick Strategist. So if they come and follow me on there, if you send me a DM, either AI or you can send Ali, and I will send you the link through so you can get dibs on my little AI assistant. So like I say, at the minute, there's less than 100 people got her. So
Ooh.
she is very, very new. She's great, but she helps basically like to answer, like I say, any questions that you've got. She's just there to be like your bestie mate, basically in business. And then also LinkedIn is another place. I'm on LinkedIn, just Gina Trick. They're the two places I'm most active. And then if you do follow us on Instagram, you get all the day in a life of me, which people find hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I need to go check that out myself. I need to figure out what you're getting up to and what you're doing. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to this show. Do you have any last words for our audience?
I would say just whatever you're doing, just make sure that it feels good, that you're enjoying it, and don't just chase somebody else's version of success. Make sure that it's your version and what you really, really want in your life.
I love that. I love that. Guys, all the links will be in the show notes. So make sure you go ahead and grab them and go and connect with Gina. She is awesome. She's got so much more to share with you guys. So go and check her out. Gina, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Been a pleasure, as always.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.